Next on Currents News, the final farewell to a hero cop. A sea of blue in Jersey City for the detective gunned down during a rampage of hate against Jews and police. Pope Francis is changing Vatican law to shine a brighter spotlight on cases of clerical sex abuse.
Students at one Brooklyn Catholic Academy are learning about service, making care packages for those in need. I'm Tim Harfman, and I'll have the story.
Plus, well wishes and prayers for Pope Francis on his 83rd birthday. The news starts right now. Bagpipes played as thousands of police officers and loved ones gathered to bid a final farewell to a fallen hero. Good evening, I'm Christine Persichetti. Falling rain added to the somber mood at St. Aidan's Church in Jersey City. A mass of Christian burial celebrated police detective Joseph Seals. The married father of 5 was cut down a week ago in a rampage of hate and terror. Currents News' Emily Druby reports.
A chilling silence as a sea of blue lined Bergen Avenue. Thousands of officers mourned the loss of one of their own, Detective Joseph Seals. A procession guided the hearse to St. Aidan's Church. Hundreds of officers atop motorcycles, a riderless horse draped in a blanket with Detective Seals' name, and bagpipes. Friends and family filled the Jersey City Catholic Church.
It was a sea of blue and total sadness, tears, everything. And it was most touching when the children got up to talk. His young son, they put him on a pedestal to speak. He looked like 9 foot tall. God bless the little guy.
Ted White is the father of another Jersey City police officer. Detective Seals' life was cut short exactly 1 week ago. He was killed while attempting to confront 2 people in Bayview Cemetery. Shortly after, those 2 suspects drove to a kosher supermarket where they carried out what officials are calling an anti-Semitic attack that left 3 more dead. Seals was a 15-year veteran of the Jersey City Police Force. He lived in North Arlington with his wife and 5 children. He was beloved by many.
Joe was a great guy. He was all about his family. That came first, and he was just a dedicated police officer.
Everybody loved Joe. Like they say, he was a prankster. You know, he was a great guy. He was a good cop.
On Tuesday, thousands of officers and clergy, including Cardinal Joseph Tobin, joined Detective Seals' family as they were presented with an American flag, a symbol of the ultimate sacrifice he made. In Jersey City, Emily Druby, Currents News.
Tonight, New York police are hunting for a teenager wanted for the murder of Barnard College freshman Tessa Majors. She was stabbed to death a week ago in Morningside Park near the college campus. The 14-year-old suspect was on his way to meet with cops when he jumped out of a car on Monday. The search for the fugitive is centered in Harlem. Another suspect, 13-year-old Zaire Davis, is in custody facing murder charges. Big news from the Vatican. Pope Francis is changing Vatican law to shine a brighter spotlight on cases of clerical sex abuse. And that's not the only change he's making. Currents News' Jessica Easthope is here with the latest. Jessica.
Christine, the Holy Father is abolishing the rule of secrecy in connection with clerical sex abuse, and he's making a significant change in what the church defines as child pornography.
The Vatican announcing the changes Tuesday to how it will help combat sexual abuse. The law, known as the Pontifical Secret, had been intended to protect the privacy of abuse victims and the reputations of those accused. The Holy Father is now lifting restrictions on anyone who reports abuse or claims to be a victim. He's also allowing witnesses who testify in a church trial to speak out. Crux Rome Bureau Chief Inez San Martin says the Pope's decision is being cheered as a critical way to improve trust and transparency.
What makes this move historic is the fact from now on, no bishop around the world will be able to say, I don't know what's going on with your case because the Vatican is telling me to tell you, I don't know. is going to come down to the responsibility of each bishop, and at the same time, it's going to come down to civil authorities.
Pope Francis is insisting information in abuse cases should still be treated with integrity, and the Vatican has always said pontifical secrecy never prevented the reporting of crimes. But his top abuse prosecutor, Archbishop Charles Scicluna, says the end of secrecy will foster greater cooperation with law enforcement.
Now that impediment, if we might call it that way, has been lifted, and the pontifical secret is no more an excuse.
The elimination of the pontifical secret in abuse cases is the latest in a long line of actions the Holy Father has taken. He is also making a change involving pornography. Before, the Church defined child porn as any victim 14 years old or younger. Now, the Pope has raised that age to 18.
This is, again, a very important move, and this is actually a move which, just like the pontifical secrecy, actually comes around from the summit Pope Francis held in February with the presidents of all the bishops' conferences from around the world. These are two seemingly very simple things, yet very important, small, big steps that the bishops have requested.
The Church has been hit with thousands of reports of sexual abuse by priests around the world. Tuesday's changes in Holy See law are designed to shed new light on the misconduct.
It goes in the direction of greater transparency and, above all, collaboration with civil judicial authorities. There will, of course, be confidentiality in treating this information, but no pontifical secrets when dealing with the pain and wounds of children and minors.
The Vatican is pointing out that doing away with pontifical secrecy in abuse cases will have no impact on the sacramental seal of confession that will always remain unbroken.
All right, Jessica, what has been the impact or the reaction to the Pope's new changes?
Christine, these steps are being applauded by religious leaders and abuse survivors. Marie Collins, who is a survivor herself, was on the Pope's Abuse Commission. She tweeted out today that it was excellent news and finally a real and positive change.
All right, thank you, Jessica. You can read more about the Pope's changes to pontifical secrecy at thetablet.org. There's also a link to the actual Vatican documents about the new law that you can read. You'll find that on the Tablet's website as well. Through the leadership of Brooklyn's Bishop Nicholas DiMarzio, the diocese has strong programs in place to protect minors. Some of the measures include creating the Office of Victim Assistance to help individuals who come forward with allegations of abuse. The office provides counseling, referrals for therapy, and other important resources. Every employee of the Brooklyn Diocese, including students, undergoes mandatory training designed to spot the signs of abuse and how to stop it. In the Brooklyn Diocese, Bishop DiMarzio meets with survivors and listens to them carefully. One result of those talks is the annual Hope and Healing Mass. To contact the diocese's toll-free and confidential sexual abuse reporting line, dial 888-634-4499. The countdown to the impeachment of President Trump is moving full speed ahead in the Democrat-controlled House, while in the Senate, where the Republicans are the majority, battle lines for a possible trial are being drawn. This afternoon, the president sent a 6-page letter to Speaker Nancy Pelosi denouncing what he calls a partisan impeachment crusade and an attempted coup. Karen Kafa has the latest from Washington.
One more stop before an historic House vote.
We believe this conduct is impeachable and should never take place again under our constitutional system.
The House Rules Committee debating ground rules for a floor vote on 2 articles of impeachment against President Trump expected as early as Wednesday.
It's a hoax, it's a witch hunt, and it's just a continuation. It's been going on now for almost 3 years.
With the Democratic majority in the House making impeachment all but inevitable, Republicans still sharply critical of the process.
The one thing, when it came down to the very end, the one thing they couldn't do is actually find a crime.
The focus already shifting to a Senate trial. Majority Leader Mitch McConnell objecting to Democratic Leader Chuck Schumer's request to call key White House witnesses.
The Senate is meant to act as judge and jury, to hear a trial, not to rerun the entire fact-finding investigation because angry partisans rushed sloppily through it.
Schumer hoping to persuade a handful of Republicans to vote with Democrats to help them get a say in setting trial rules.
Senators who oppose this plan will have to explain why less evidence is better than more evidence.
Impeachment not the only hefty item on the congressional agenda. Capitol Hill needs to get a $1.4 trillion spending package to President Trump's desk before a Friday shutdown deadline when the government runs out of funding. In Washington, Karen Kafa, Currents News.
Democrats will hit the stage for a debate this Thursday after all. A tentative agreement in a labor dispute at Loyola Marymount University has been reached. Several of the candidates had said they would not cross a picket line to attend the debate. Now to severe weather in the Deep South. Multiple tornadoes causing extensive damage. At least 3 deaths are confirmed.
Man, it's over the school.
Yeah, that's not good.
Is it coming back this way?
I don't know.
The National Weather Service confirms 18 twisters touched down on Monday. Officials say about 60 homes and a church were ripped apart. Most of the tornadoes were in Mississippi, but some struck Alabama and Louisiana. We're learning tonight the enormity of the economic impact following Boeing's decision to suspend production of the 737 MAX jet. Monday's shutdown will cost Boeing $1 billion a month, and there are hundreds of companies that are part of the supply chain, and analysts fear the ripple effect will have extensive implications on the global economy. The planes were grounded in March after 2 crashes that killed 346 people. There's a lot more news headed your way. Why Catholic climate groups say now more than ever they are vowing to fight even harder to protect the earth. Plus, a champion of the cause shares how her faith is inspiring her battle to save the planet. And the miracle of Christmas, sharing the story through music and dance of the Virgin Mary and St. Joseph leading up to the birth of Christ. And a special day for Pope Francis. It's his birthday. Do you have a story idea or want to share a tip? Email us at newstips@desalesmedia.org or call our 24-hour number 718-517-3122. We'll be right back. With just over a week until Christmas, you can get into the holiday spirit this weekend thanks to an order of nuns who are showing the story of Christ's birth in a new way. The Miracle of Christmas tells the story of Mary and Joseph as they await the birth of the baby that will change the world. Currents News' Emily Druvy is here again to report from the play's rehearsals.
Jesus Christ is the Messiah. A perfect blend of harmonies fills St. Teresa of Avila Church in Prospect Heights as a group of talented performers rehearse the Miracle of Christmas, an old love story told in a new way through song and dance. Sharing the tale of the Virgin Mary and St. Joseph and the moments leading up to the birth of Christ.
I've never really seen a Christmas story that really focuses on them and their love story and how that brings to life Jesus.
The show is produced by the Preachers of Christ and Mary. While the group is originally from Columbia, they now serve the Diocese of Brooklyn, like the musical's director, Mother Maria Amador.
We started producing this kind of musicals and plays to evangelize, using new tools and new ways to spread the word.
The Preachers of Christ and Mary create the shows, props, costumes, and set design by hand. The musical makes the gospel more relatable, using a new original script, songs, and choreography, telling the story of how the holy couple used love to overcome their obstacles.
The harmonies are different in the sense of it's more rich, and the dynamic is more dynamic, so more powerful.
Teaching the audience a valuable lesson.
God's plan for your life, that you may not always see what that vision is, but you have to trust and believe. You just have to have faith. Oftentimes you really can't see what the end goal is, but He does have a larger vision for your life, and you have to trust and believe in that.
A lesson you can see for yourself during one of the 2 Miracle of Christmas performances happening December 21st at the Queen's Theater in Corona. In Prospect Heights, Emily Druvy, Currents News.
As Emily reported, you can see the Miracle of Christmas at the Queen's Theater in Corona this Saturday, the 21st. Shows are at 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. For more information and to reserve tickets, call 347-305-5398. You've heard of Santa's Little Helpers. Now get ready for Mary's Helpers. The students from Good Shepherd Catholic Academy in Brooklyn are spending the holiday season doing service, all in honor of the Blessed Mother. Currents News' Tim Harfman reports.
Students at Good Shepherd Catholic Academy in Marine Park are on a mission to serve others.
It's nice for people to do other things for those in need.
It shows that I can make a difference and I can help.
They're called Mary's Helpers in honor of the Blessed Mother. Each month, the helpers choose a different service project.
I just think about all the people who don't have anything and how I'm so fortunate and how I think, well, why don't I give it a try? Why don't I help them?
This month, they're helping the Dominican Sisters of Amityville, who used to teach at Good Shepherd. Many of them live in an assisted living community on Long Island, where sisters enjoy writing letters. The kids are coloring cards and stuffing bags with stamps, pens, and notepads.
They are running low on them, and we think it is nice because they've done so much for the school.
Fourth grader Emerson Raimundi credits Mary's Helpers for teaching values she can carry through life.
You will have more faith and you will want to continue doing good things.
In the name of the Father, the Son.
The group started 3 years ago as a way of showing their devotion to Mary. Students pray a decade of the Rosary before each project.
Everything we do revolves around Mary, and we pray to her all the time because we look up to her.
Now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
Mary's Helpers, serving others through the intercession of the Blessed Mother. In Marine Park, Brooklyn, Tim Harfman, Currents News.
Some Catholic groups are frustrated with the outcome of the UN climate talks in Spain, but they're vowing to step up demands for more international action. Representatives of 17 Catholic development agencies in Europe and North America say participating countries at the conference postponed key decisions. They say they'd like to get the church to help push governments into making the right policy choices. She's been honored by the United Nations as a 2019 Young Champion of the Earth and praised by the Global Landscapes Forum for reducing the separation of church and earth. Now, Molly Burhans is here to share how her scientist parents and Catholic faith inspired her to found Good Lands, an organization dedicated to helping the Catholic Church leverage its worldwide land holdings with greater environmental stewardship. Welcome, Molly. So nice to have you here. And congratulations on the UN honor. What does that award mean to you?
Well, it really means connecting with the best scientists and, researchers and real estate people in the world to help refine our ideas and improve them and get the message out to more people about the moral dimension of how we use our land and how it impacts our communities and each other.
All right, so let's get a little background. What is Good Lands?
Good Lands is a nonprofit that I founded. We help Catholic communities first understand what they own and digitize their land records. And then we kind of run all these analyses and help them use it better for the missions of the church. Not just environmental stewardship, but also their own financial management and well-being and social impact as well, including like affordable housing.
So I didn't really realize how much the Catholic Church owns, how much land. Tell us a little bit about that.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Some people say the largest non-governmental landholder, but the reality is it's a very complex structure of networks of land holdings, little LLCs. It varies from place to place, but collectively we do steward a massive amount of land. And using that land for good can help improve almost all of our missions. We see how land management impacts childhood development, peace and violence, reducing violence, health. It's kind of an extension of Catholic healthcare almost, I like to think of it. So that land aligned with our mission is really a powerful force for good in the world.
Yeah, now talk a little bit about how better using technology to track the church's land use can help the environment.
Well, I guess what kind of really moved me in that direction was my own discernment. And I just saw this potential before me for improving all of those ministries that I just mentioned and supporting the missions of the church. Technology allows us to do that at scale. What used to be kind of site scale master planning, you can computationally approach now with maps to the kind of thousands of properties all at once. So it makes sense actually for us to plan entire portfolios of provinces or dioceses collectively. It just works at that scale, and it's also usually most useful for people that are often working with shifting demographics and trying to figure out real estate transactions in the process, to have those extra layers that technology allows to not only look at a spreadsheet of financials, but the environmental context and the human context of all of those.
Okay, now you've been realistic about the potential hazards of how that information can be misused. Now, what are your concerns and how can they be mitigated?
I guess one of the concerns is kind of like a race for time here, is that municipalities are often switching to these smart city systems, and they themselves have digitized land records. This is putting the church at a tremendous risk for taxation if they don't understand what they own and start keeping better track of that. So what we're doing there, it's kind of a risk, but it's a risk, more of a risk without it. Globally, I have, done a lot of writing and discussions all the way up to the Holy See about security standards and data policy within Catholic communities, so that we can ensure that this is done respectfully and intelligently.
So is it safe to say that science and faith are not contradictory terms?
Definitely not. One of my favorite quotes is, science and faith are opposed like my thumb and my forefinger. Through them, I can grasp all things.
I like that. Very good. All right, Molly, thank you so much for joining us. Molly Burnham, founder of Goodlands. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Still to come on Currents News, are Catholic priests following advice from Pope Francis to keep homilies short? Details on a just-released study. And millions around the world are sending birthday wishes and prayers to the Holy Father. And please check out one of the latest features in the tablet, the Our Diocesan Family page. That's where you can send in photos of your family receiving certain sacraments such as baptism, First Communion, confirmation, and marriage. For more information and to submit your pictures, go to thetablet.org/Our Diocesan Family. We'll be right back. When you go to Mass on Sunday, take note of how long the homily is. A new study from the Pew Research Center says Catholic priests tend to speak for about 14 minutes on average. That's compared to Protestant sermons, which average about 37 minutes. You can thank the Pope for the shorter homily. Last year, he told priests homilies should be no more than 10 minutes. Bethlehem may sit at the center of the conflict between Israel and the Palestinians, but just feet from where the baby Jesus was born, there are many acts of charity happening every day. Christians and Muslims are coming together to improve health and education. The Sisters of the Incarnate are giving a home to more than 30 children with cerebral palsy, some who were abandoned by their families. The Sisters also set up a new center for the elderly.
Our neonatal ICU in Holy Family Hospital is a unique neonatal ICU in Bethlehem district. We cover the 75% of the deliveries in all the area of Bethlehem, and 1/3 in Hebron, and they come also from Jerusalem, from the East Jerusalem.
Many of the people who work there are trained at Bethlehem University, a Catholic center directed by the De La Salle brothers and supported by the Order of the Holy Sepulchre. Happy birthday, Pope Francis. This is the 7th year that the Holy Father celebrated his birthday at the Vatican. And while he probably won't organize a special celebration for himself, Catholics around the world are celebrating him. Prayers have been pouring in from every corner of the world. The Pope received thousands of celebratory emails, letters from children, and of course, millions of posts on his Instagram page. It's a special month for the pontiff. Just days ago, he celebrated 50 years of priesthood. Pope Francis turns 83 years old today. Happy birthday to him. And that is Currents News. I'm Christine Persichetti. Thank you for joining us because we are putting your faith in the news. Hope to see you again next time.